Just quickly, just before you like, obviously I know you end up at Wolves, but what other clubs were like interested in you at that point? Like, how did that go about? Did you just get presented to
Yeah,
you and say these guys, these guys, these guys? How does it work?
yeah. Well, so I'd actually changed agents by
Okay.
then, and I sort of, again, I'd never been in this situation before, so you're relying heavily on your agent, and so he's telling me there's this club's interested, this, and this. So I had a few options, and it was only when I remember, and it is a great story, but I remember I was actually booked a boys' holiday with my mates from back home, and we were going to go to Marbella, believe it or not, and. So we were all booked, ready to go, and then I get a call. I think it was the day of. I was ready to go to the airport. I get a call to say like Mick McCarthy wants to meet you over in Portugal. He's on holiday, but he wants you to go over and meet him. And I was like, "Ooh, okay."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Right, I can't go. I'm going to Portugal to meet Mick McCarthy." And then I got a flight over there. Went and met him. I'd I sat with him for a couple of hours, chatted about why he wanted me to come to the club, what he was going to do at the club, asked me if I had any questions. And to be honest, as soon as I met him, as soon as I spoke to him, there was nowhere else I was going to go. He's still, so he's still the best manager I've had. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant
Incredible.
guy. Staff that he's got around him. It's not just him; it was the team that he had. And the biggest compliment I could give him was he was honest, and he told you everything. Good, bad, indifferent. He would tell you, and there was no better feeling than then coming back from that, going up to see Molineux, getting shown around that, and then signing my deal and flying from Wolverhampton to Birmingham to Marbella and meeting my mates.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
I bet that.
so from, let's say, the first point of interest, let's say your contact when you first heard Mick McCarthy or Wolves were interested, from that point to deal done, how long would that have taken at that point?
Probably about a week, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe a bit longer. I knew of the interest before, but actually, from when I actually met him, it was less, like a few days, 3 or 4, max. But before that, you'd obviously know there was quite a few clubs, and I wasn't really involved in that part of it, really. I suppose until it got to the point where we were like talking and talking about what was going to go on. So yeah, it was in the end, it felt really long for a long period of time, and then it all happened quite quickly.
Must have been extremely exciting as well, just to see another name, another team where you just everyone in the country should know about them. And for you, you're probably looking at it as, where is my career about to go now? Yeah.
Well, I didn't know any of the players personally at all, none of them. So I was going into a whole new squad, not knowing anyone really personally. So it was like first day back at school type of thing, where you walk in and you're like,
yeah. But again, it does speak to your work ethic as well and your ambition, where that didn't phase you at all. You could have, maybe gone to somewhere more familiar, I assume, and
more local.
You're more local, absolutely. But you've obviously gone straight into the deep end and said, "Yeah, bring on."
Yeah, it's like good 3 and a bit hours from me. So it wasn't that I could drive home after training and that. It was a full move. But yeah, absolutely, I got the opportunity to go. That was and as I said, Mick was a huge influence in that decision. And it was a fantastic decision in the end.
Absolutely, yeah. No,
this is just a burning question for me then, just based on that. I mean, because you hear it all the time, players saying, "Yeah, spoke to the manager, and from then it was, no other option or whatnot." Is that for professional players? Is that something that really is a driving force, the manager, and that first conversation that you have? The ideas that they have and the vision is you basically have to buy into it. Is that true? In more cases than not.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for me, it's hard though, because you're talking to I was 19, 20 at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm still young. I don't know everything about it. I've only I haven't experienced loads in that. Although I've had quite a few different managers, different players in leagues, but you don't really not to that level. So for me, yeah, the manager had a huge impact. But the thing is now is you can speak to the manager and he sells you the dream, and then he's gone within 2 weeks. Of you getting there, and it's just like you just don't know these days. Whereas back then, I was like, yeah, Mick's, that's who I want to go and play for. That's where I can see the vision of what he's trying to do. He's bringing lots of young players, hungry, not really made it at the top level yet, all wanting to improve, all wanting to get that work ethic, that togetherness. And we all did. We all just bought into it.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's, yeah. I mean, like you said, another door, opportunities just keep opening at that point, I guess. And then to go from Gillingham to Wolves is like a step up in itself in terms of club stature, I guess. But when you get there in 2007, I see that you got hit with some injuries. How big were those injuries at that point, especially as you've just signed? I'm assuming you signed during the pre-season period. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was. I signed in the off season, so like in the summer. So I come pre-season ready to prove everyone that I was not that they I played in the championship, but I was like no one really knew me to a degree. So I was ready to prove to everyone what I was about, and I got injured in the first sort of week of pre-season really, and I was out for about 3 months. It was awful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Just when you get to a club and you just wanted to impress and you want to hit the ground running, and then bang, injury. But again, I speak about him, Mick McCarthy, but he was so good in that the interactions. He's come straight to me. He was like, "Look, don't worry about it at all." He said when I got my move to Celtic, I got injured. I missed the first 4 months of the season. Just make sure you don't rush back. Make sure you're right, and when you come back, then you're ready to go. Like, just don't worry about it. I understand the pressures and everything, but don't worry about it. Just get yourself right. And as a player that's just signed there, you're thinking, but then after that, hearing and speaking to the manager, like, obviously you're still disappointed. Be like, wow, that's that man management is top. And then I'm chomping at the bit then to get myself back fit and to get back in and play.
Yeah. Was there ever sort of an urge to try and rush yourself back quicker than you should have been coming back, or
100%? Yeah, every single day. Yeah. 100%.
Trying to roll out the hospital bed. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're trying everything. Because within football, the physios and everyone knows an injury, and they have a timeline. They know where you should be along these times. Like, so you're saying, if I can nick a day there, then I could probably be back, maybe a week earlier than before. So you're always trying to shave a few days off, or maybe a week off if it's a longer term. So it's not a good idea, to be honest, but it's just what happens. You're just desperate to you pinpoint a game. You're like, right, I need to be back for that game. That's going to be my timeline. I need to be back for that game. And then as it gets closer, you're like, I need to actually step it up a bit because I'm not making that game.
Yeah.
You start chasing.
No, for sure. So once you become fit after the injury, you become a regular. What clicked? Like, what made you sort of embrace the fact that you're playing for Wolves, and how did you appeal to the fans and vice versa? What was it like?
We were just, it was just suited the way that I think everyone played, but for me it was brilliant. I was a wide player, an old school winger in get wide, get crosses in the box, and we were 4-4-2. We had two big strikers, and we literally did. We were like, well, if we went 1-0 down, we're like, that's fine, we're going to score, so no problem. And we maybe should have kept a few more clean sheets, but we were just ready to open teams up, get wide, get crosses in the box, score goals, and it worked. We gelled. And it was a pleasure to be a part of that squad and that team, because it was really enjoyable playing in that team.
Definitely.
And just backtracking a little bit there, obviously your debut goal for your debut against Charlton, I believe it was.
Well, see, I should know these things. But,
well, okay. From what we heard, it was your debut against Charlton. You came on as a sub. Obviously, you've probably played hundreds of games since then, so it
Yeah.
might be a distant memory now. But do you have any sort of memories from around that time, that your debut and when you first
Yeah.
started breaking into the Wolves team, the first team?
Yeah, I do. I don't necessarily remember the feeling of my debut, if I'm completely honest with you. But I remember that sort of period of getting into the team, getting back fit, and just being so determined to want to get in the team because there was some top players there, but to want to get in the team and to stay in the team. And actually, one of my biggest things was to prove to everyone that I should be there, and that's including fans. That was including loads of different people, teammates, even really.
Probably even yourself.
Well, 100%, yeah. I mean, everyone thinks that players are full of confidence and nothing shatters them and nothing happens. Yes, it does. An injury first, and your confidence is low. You're then second guessing everything that you do, because you're wanting to impress. You're wanting to do well. So yeah, it was a tough but a very enjoyable time to sort of get myself in, do well, keep working, and we were a really a good, fun team to play for as well. Whether that's on the pitch or away from the pitch, we're all very similar age. It was a good time to be playing in that team.
Yeah, no. Just back to, you said you played the 4-4-2. I just want to quickly ask, who played up front at that time? Who was you knocking across?
So our strikers were Sylvan Ebanks Blake. Remember him?
Of course.
Championship goal scored, golden boot for a few seasons.
Of course.
We had Andy Keogh, we had Sam Vokes, we had Chris Uelemo.
Okay.
Remember Chris?
Yeah, I remember the name. Yeah. Sure.
So then boys used to, it was ridiculous. Yeah, and we played with the two, so it was always like they always made subs. So there was always two strikers on the bench, and two strikers pretty much always came on. So it was just relentless. But yeah, that was Sylvan was ridiculous in that time in that championship. I mean, you used to just scream at you just to give him the ball. He used to get the ball into his feet. He'd use his body back in and just turn. And it was just, I don't know, it was like a snapshot. Like he didn't have any backlift. It was just bang. And it was through people's legs. It was round corners. Like it was just anything goes in that box. He just used to always get the shot off, and then more often than not, it went in.
Yeah. So yeah, following into that season then. Oh, go on, Trey. Sorry, mate. Go on.
No, carry on.
No, yeah. So following into that season, you just missed the playoffs. I think it was on goal difference, I believe, -2 goal difference. I guess the team would have looked at that as a failure, but how did they handle that? Because obviously the next season you then win promotion. So how did the bounce back come from that, and what was the vibe like?
I think we knew in pre-season. We'd had a really good camp. I think we signed a few more players. I can't remember if Chris Uelemo signed in that transfer window. I think it might have been him and Sam Vokes that signed in that transfer window. I think I could be wrong with that, but they signed. So we had good additions to the squad. I think we had a really good pre-season. I think the players knew that we were in good shape, and then once the season started, we started well. And I think I can pinpoint a game when we played Forest at home, and I think we won 5-1. And that after that game, we were like, I think we've got a massive chance here.
Yeah.
No, not that it's done.
No, I said it's on. Sorry, it's on. No, it's on.
It's on. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we were like, we've got a real good chance here. And I think that was where momentum just keeps going.
Yeah. And I guess that it really is the important part, is that start as you mean to go on, get those results right at the start, and like I said, the momentum then can carry. Obviously the football is the biggest part of it, but the momentum, even if you're behind in a game or you're drawing, it's that momentum to really push on and keep applying pressure to get those winners, or get the result at the end of it. So yeah, how much of an impact would you say that had on the game is the momentum side of things and the feeling around the camp?
Yeah, I think as I said, if we went 1-0 down, I think we knew that we'd have chances. We knew we'd score goals, so we never panicked at that point. And the thing is, in the Championship, it's relentless. It's Saturday, Tuesday. So we knew if we had not a great result or we lost, we knew we had another game straight away, and we would go and try and get that result, and then we would as you say, momentum is huge in a championship.
Yep.
It's all about just picking up results, picking up draws, wins, wins. If you lost and you win, it's better than having a draw in between.
Yeah.
You're picking up more points. So it was very much just trying to keep that momentum and to. I mean, you want to stay unbeaten, but we wanted to win every game, and we felt we could.
Yeah.
Oh.
Absolutely.
And what was the intensity like of the championship ship back then? I don't know about you, Prince, but I remember match of the day finishes, football league show comes on, and the speed of the football, looked quick. Like, they say the Premier League's a fairly quick league, but the football league and championship league ones, it just seems high intensity majority of the game. What was it like, obviously playing in it?
Absolutely, you've hit the nail on the head with that. That's what I always say when people say, "What was the difference between the Premier League and the Championship?" And I'm just like, the difference in the Championship, you have less time on the ball. Like it's relentless, it's fast, it's that. But in my position as a wide player, it was easier to do something with the ball. You had less time, but it was easier to nip past someone or to cut inside or do something. Whereas in the Premier League, you had more time on the ball. They would not let you have it, but you would have that respect, I suppose, that they'd pass it, and then you could maybe get the ball and turn, and then I'd face up my fullback, and then I'd go, okay, I'll cut inside, have a shot, and then they would block that, and then I'd go, okay, well, I'll just go down the line, and they'd be like, well, I've got that as well. Like, this is like the intensity was still high, but you just get a little bit more time on the ball, whereas the Championship is relentless. It's 90 minutes of people just sprinting and knocking the ball over the top, and then someone's up, and then you're trying to get the ball and they're straight through the back of you, and it's just it is relentless. But that's the good fun.
And I guess there is no right or wrong answer to this. So purely from your perspective, why is it so quick? Or I think it's still that way today. Obviously we're talking quite a while ago now, but I think it's still that way today. Like, what in your opinion makes it that way? Is it the coaching or what?
I think nowadays it's slightly different because now teams are a bit more trying to be like the Premier League size and dominate possession and keep the ball and go wide. Whereas before it was literally, we get the ball, we're going to turn it into your half, we're going to try and win the ball back, and we're going to go and score. Whereas now teams are trying to hold on to the ball a bit more, trying to play out from the back, trying to build through the midfield, trying to get it wide or stay down the middle and do cutbacks or however you wanted to play. Whereas before in the Championship, it was just intense. Right, we're playing your end, and we're just going to hunt everything down, and we're going to try and win the ball back, and we're just going to press. And that's why the intensity was so high.
Absolutely, no, yeah. And you played a pivotal role in that season. You got 3 goals, 10 assists. I mean, you spoke about the strikers already. I guess it was easy to provide assists. You probably could have had way more, I guess, in that regards. But how did it feel to play such
I speak to the strikers about that.
Well, yeah. So
you send over the phone numbers. We'll get on.
That's it. Line it up and we're there. How did it feel to be like such a pivotal role of that? And obviously now you're one step closer to the dream.
Yeah, huge. I mean, that's the whole point of playing. That's what I want to do. My whole philosophy, my place in the team was to get the fans off their seats, to create opportunities for players to score, to try and score myself, but to be an outlet for the team, and to attack, and to never, I'd never wanted to. Maybe I did a few times, but I never wanted to not take my fullback on.
Yeah.
That was just, nowadays it's very different. Players are like not more worried, but they have to keep the ball. If they don't think they're going to do it, or if players aren't in the box, maybe you keep the ball and go out the other side. Whereas no, it wasn't like that. You take them on. If I put a cross in and the strikers weren't there, well, it probably wasn't from me. It would probably be from someone else. But I would be putting the balls in, and then if they weren't in the box, the manager would go nuts.
Okay. I guess that's how football has changed over the years. Like I said, I think, again, we're just looking at it from the outside, watching on TV, and it does seem a lot more safe, especially, again, we're watching Premier League football, and the teams at the top half of the table are playing a lot more of a safer brand of football as opposed to, what we saw back then in the Championship. And like I said, the football leagues where, like I said, it's just end to end, 90 minutes, full steam, just go. Very, very interesting. And I mean, that's a question for you is, how does it feel watching the way, seeing the way the game has changed over the years? Do you look at it from a different sort of perspective to, let's say, that the average fan, or
Yeah, I would definitely say so, because you can just see, like, there's just moments in game that you can notice what players are doing and how they're doing it and why they're doing it. And like, is like I suppose the normal fan are just like, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? But you can sort of go, okay, I actually see, I know why he's doing that. And it could be something silly like, I don't know, a corner, a set piece, and what they're doing and why they're doing it. And then you see, like, a midfielder, why is he doing that? Why is he not passing it to that guy? Why is he keep going down that side? Or why is he, the way that he's turned and received the ball? Why has he done that? But actually, they'd have worked, or they know, and you get a feeling and you just understand why they've done it. So I do definitely look at the game, and I sort of just try and work out really what's going on. Why are they doing that? Why is the team playing that way? Or why is that winger doing that? I definitely focus more on the wide players, just because it's just, it's hard not to.
Easier to compare yourself. Yeah, of course.
But it's very different now. Like, as I said, that's why I was an old school winger. Get wide, get across in the box, take players on, and it's very different nowadays. Wingers don't do that anymore.
That was in the days where a right-footed player played on the right and a left-footed player played on the left. Obviously nowadays it's all inverted. You've got right back playing left back now, so it's
I know. I think
very
a lot
different game.
I think if you ask a lot of strikers that played when I was playing, they would hate it now, because the crosses don't come in the box, and like they, and if they do, it's like it's the ones they come into and everything's sort of going the other way. Whereas you just want, like, if you speak to Andy Carroll, if he wanted me to whip balls in like that, he would, no, just hang it up, get to the byline, hang it up, and then I'll just come and steamroll people, and like a battering ram, and come and smash into people. That's what he wanted.
No, definitely, yeah. So promotions happen now. You made it to the Prem. I can imagine the celebrations at that point are mental as well. I could probably talk a lot about that as well. But yeah, you get into the Prem now. It's your pre-season. You're ready for the start of the season. What's the feeling like?
For me, excitement. I can't wait. Yes, there's loads of, like, we need to stay up, we need to do this, we need to do that. But for me, just pure excitement. I can't wait. This is what I've been working for. But there's the transfer window's open. There's players coming in, and you're like, best not be coming in my position. I need to be playing here. But that's every single transfer window that happens. You're like, we need players in, but don't be signing a left winger. I don't need a left winger. But I just can't wait. And I think it was quite early on. I can't remember what game. It feels to me like it was like the second game, but it probably wasn't. But we played Man City away. And that was a big, like, I'm standing up, and they just signed Robinho. Remember Robinho?
That's when the shift.
They just signed him.
This is when the shift.
Twinkle toes.
Like, looking down the like in the tunnel, and you're like, wow. So
big names.
That's when you start. When you start going, okay. But for me, I relished it. I loved playing like that. Was Zabaleta, I think it was there at that time. Playing against him. Prime Zabaleta just joined. You're thinking, here we go. Great times, absolutely brilliant. We got humbled. I think not humbled, but that was more of a realization that actually the Premier League's no joke. We played Chelsea away. We played Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge, and I think we got pumped 4-0.
Yeah.
You had Juan Mata. You had William. I think it was odd. I can't remember if Oscar was playing. You had Essien, and oh my God, like, you just couldn't get near them. They were just bop, 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 and you were like hunting around you just couldn't get near anyone. And that was like, wow, this is a team. And you're like, wow, we're gonna have to step it up here. They were ridiculous. And I only ever played right wing a couple of times in my career, and that was because Ashley Cole was running the other way, and I had to chase him back, and that's not fun. He's probably the best fullback that's ever played in the Premier League, in my opinion. Left back.
No, I think
Prince will love that one.
Yeah, I'm Chelsea, so for me, even to hear you reminisce about how he was bopping about, to see the difference now.
You should have told me that earlier. I would have said another team.
No, I'll take that all day, especially with the current performances of us right now. I mean, we beat Liverpool the weekend, so I'm happy about that.
Is mad though, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, everyone says who's the best fullback that you played against, and I literally played 99.9% of my career on the left wing, and I played against Zabaleta, Kyle Walker, Gary Neville,
fullbacks.
Valencia, Glenn Johnson, Ivanovic at Chelsea. You can name whoever.
Yeah.
But Ashley Cole, by far.
Yeah,
the best.
I think a lot of people would agree with that Ashley Cole statement, really. But I feel in a way that he's not maybe spoken about or held high enough in maybe fans' repertoire of how good he actually was. But I can remember growing up watching him thinking, wow, this guy's unreal. I know, Trey, you're Arsenal, so I know you're not happy with that. But,
Up to a certain point, and then he decided, but I mean, just sort of going back, obviously, in that season, your first game was actually against your future club, West Ham. I don't think it was the best start. Yeah,
no, we lost.
You remember that one, yeah. So, how did that feel? Obviously, I can imagine the excitement going into the game was probably, sky high, and then by the end of the game, it's probably a different kind of feeling. What was that like for you and the rest of the team?
Yeah, definitely before the game, everyone's hype, everyone's ready to roll. And I think Nobe scored actually. I think it was 1-0. Nobe scored, and I think it was I suppose like a reality check to be like, we actually we get punished. In the Championship you probably get like 10 shots at your goal. You maybe get one that will go in. Whereas in the Premier League, you'll have 2 shots, one's in, definitely. So it was like it was a bit of a wake up call to be like, well, when we get a chance, we need to take it, and if they've got a chance, we need to do everything to stop it. Yep. So it was I enjoyed the game to a degree because I played well. It was my first time playing in the Premier League, but at the same time, it's nothing like defeat. Because you start realizing, well, that's another game. That's a game gone. We need to pick up points. We need to stay in the league.
Sure.
No, definitely, yeah. So,
and
go on, Trey. Go on, mate.
No, I was just going to ask. So, after that game, how did it change the way you guys prepared for your upcoming games? Because obviously now you're thinking, or I'd assume you're thinking, the margins are very slim. Like you said, you lose the ball, that could be a goal in your net, the ball in your net, sorry. So how did that change the way you prepared, or did it, or was it stick to the plan that was set out at the beginning of the season? How did you decide to go on from there as a team?
Well, I think Mick and Terry Connor, they were on the training pitch every day working, and I've got nothing but love for Terry Connor. He was brilliant with me. I had Tony Daly as the fitness coach as well. Remember him, winger, Villa, England, what a player. So it was a great team around, and it's just trying to stay focused on us and how we were going to play, because we weren't we weren't privileged to be in a bit where could just basically do what we wanted. We had to adapt to the other teams for like one formation or the tactics that they played. So we had to sort of not change for every game. That's not what I mean, but like adapt to certain teams for certain reasons. Yeah. So we were very well drilled on the training field going into a game to know what we were going to do with their weaknesses, what their strengths were, what we would try and stop. So I wouldn't say anything changed to a degree. It would just be more of a, well, we're going to have to make sure that when we get that opportunity, we need to take it, and we just need to make sure that we try and keep the shots on the goal as minimum as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Makes sense.
Set pieces as well were huge. For us as a team that maybe wasn't going to create as many chances as the other teams because of possession and everything. When we got an opportunity from a set play, we knew we had to try and take that.
Well, apparently it's gone full circle. We're back there now.
Long throwing.
I know. Have you heard from Sam Allardyce?
You guys paved the way for the game today.
I know. Sam Allardyce is losing it in a minute. He's thinking, I told you. you.
That's very true. So So first Prem season's gone by. You performed pretty well over your 3 seasons in the Prem with Wolves, but I guess the first season stayed up pretty well. the second season was relatively more closer to relegation, and the third season was the relegation year. Could you see the decline? Because obviously, as you spoke about Robinho going to Man City, teams were really elevating. So could you feel or sense that, yeah, this is getting tougher and tougher and things like that?
No, I expected us to stay up all 3 seasons. To be honest, I think we had the squad, we had the games that, not that you pinpoint, but we had the games that you'll be like, right, we can pick up points here, and I the last seasons are just it's a difficult one because I feel like if Mick stayed in charge, we would have, him and TC were a brilliant duo, and I think we would have had a much, I think we would have had an opportunity to have stayed up as well. And to be fair, that's no disrespect for TC, because I actually, the last 13 games, I think I scored 6 or 7 goals. So, he brought out fantastic for stuff for me. So, personally, but yeah, I just feel like it wasn't a decline. I don't think. I feel like there were certain moments in certain games and results that really took their toll on us. And it's difficult, and I understand why they decided that it was time with Mick, because it was an awful result. We played against West Brom, and it's against your rivals, and you lose, and something's got to be done about it. So I understand it all, but I just feel like we would have been. It would have been a little bit closer.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's similar to the momentum when you win games. If you lose a game, for the next couple of weeks, you might feel it. And if you lose more than one on the bounce, it carries over. So, it might not
it's
be
a
about the
mentality
performance.
shift.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Yeah, because you could, if you've gone 3 or 4 games without a win, and then you concede again, and you're like, oh, here we go. It's not like, when we're in the Championship, we concede and it'd be like, it's all right, we're going to score. Yeah. It was, well, we haven't scored the last 2 games. We've just conceded again. How are we going to get out of this? So it is more of a mentality shift, and that's where, that is funny enough, is that's where like sports science and everything comes into play. Psychologists and everything that's coming into the game to try and get that mental side of things.
Yeah. I mean, just touching on that, was that not very prominent during that time for yourselves? Did you have sports therapists, psychologists around the club, or was that something you just had to sort of bounce back from and deal with?
Yeah, so I never really had it until it was the season we got promoted to the Prem with Wolves, and we had a guy come in called Bill, who come in when we were on we were on a run where we didn't really, I think we, not when he first come, but during that run, I think we were top of the league and we hadn't won in 13 games, and we were like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So he come in, but
wow.
It was very different then, because no one really wanted to use it. I think,
sure.
It's quite a big difference to now. If you had the same thing coming into a change room now, you get a very different response to what you got when it was back then. But there was a few of us that really bought into it, and for me, it was like a no-brainer. If this was going to help me by 1%, I don't know why I wouldn't do it. If it didn't help me, then I've not lost anything. But if it did, then amazing. So that's when it first sort of come in, and then each year, I suppose you get more and more used to it, or you get, I don't know, better at using the strategies and the techniques and stuff, and you just sort of slowly build it into your own routine.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, do you think it helped you develop sort of new ways to actually, or would you say you took your mental health a little bit more seriously by going through these sort of, periods, the down periods, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, I do believe like everything happens for a reason. There's so much stuff that goes on. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't do that. Like what? If a very short story. When I was at Gillingham, I had a hernia, and the manager at the time was Stan Turnant and Ronnie Jepson, and they cancelled my operation 3 times. They wouldn't let me have my op because I was playing week in, week out, and I was doing really well. So but I was an 18-year-old boy, and I couldn't train Monday to Friday. I was just playing in the games on a Saturday. And it's ridiculous. But at that point, my last game before I had my op, I came off after about 70 minutes But my last game I played against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, and I played really well, ripped up the right back. And who was the manager of Sunderland? Mick McCarthy.
Full circle.